Happy Sunday, TikTok. What is going on? Hey, to the person that just joined, this is Sunday. And so, as I set out to do, I want to make sure that every Sunday at this time, I'm getting on to talk about gratefulness and challenges because you can still be grateful through your challenges and you can still have challenges even though you are grateful. And so, this week, I was trying to figure out, like, so much happens in a week, and I was trying to figure out what moments to capture, what moments to highlight, and there were a couple of things that just kept staying on my mind. And as the previous weeks were grateful and challenged, I want to hear from those who pop on. What are some of your grateful moments? What are some of your challenging moments? Write them in the chat. I'll be sure to kind of throw it out there and show some love, and we can support each other, right? We want to be able to celebrate with one another, and we want to be able to be real and talk through the fact that, just because you love God and you believe and you have faith doesn't mean that you're not going to experience challenges. So this week is going to be, I'm going to call this my birth talk. It's going to be all about the challenges that come when you're trying to give birth to something big in your life. So not just babies, right? I'm using the concept of giving birth to talk about what it's like trying to bring forth a big thing like your gift or live in the moment of your talent and so forth. And so let's get some things out the way really quick. If you do not already follow me, please feel free to follow me. I share some content, and I also answer questions in the form of content if I can speak on the topic, right? I don't want to kind of be out here in these streets thinking I know about something that I don't know about. Also, I have a workshop coming up in December, this month, next Saturday, December 11th at noon. And it is entitled 10 Plates of Life from Pain to Healing. And that workshop is going to focus on the things that we tell ourselves and how it starts to become almost like a template that we follow and it holds us back. So it's going to be about discovering what that is for us and then moving through it. And the work is really going to be done by you. Of course, as a transformational coach, I'll be providing the coaching questions to help you reflect on. However, the real kudos is going to go to you as you attend and you do the work. Now that that's out the way, so tell a friend and tell a friend. Now that that's out the way, this whole pregnancy talk, there are so many things to be grateful within this whole idea, right? Somebody finds out they're pregnant, and for one that, for the most part, you're excited. And so you're excited about the finding out. And then the pregnancy is kind of like you have ups and downs, you're feeling crappy one day and then you're feeling great another. You're happy that you're pregnant and then you're stressed out because of the physical things that happens to your body as a result of it. So in that is a moment where you're being challenged and yet you're still grateful. And so I want to just kind of run through that and connect it to our goals when we're we're trying to meet a goal. So I was on the train. So I live in New York, and I was, shout out to the Bronx, New York. And I was on the train and I started looking around at people when I was heading into the office, and I was just thinking, how many people are sitting here and have these wonderful things inside of them that they haven't even thought about how to bring forth? Like, think about, I'll watch different comedians tell their story, and I'm like, how many comedians hail from different places? And they're like, yeah, I would just be driving in my car to work, and this is what my life was like before I hit. Or I'm sitting on a train and I would have all these thoughts going through my head of great material. And next thing I know, I hit. But in those moments when they're just riding the train or driving in their car somewhere, they don't know who they are yet. They don't know what they're bringing forth yet. Those who are sitting right next to them, like, you never really pay attention to just the people you pass by every day, that a year or two later, they blow up. And it hit me when I was sitting there. I'm just like, I have all these ideas going on in my head, and I'm working on things and trying to bring things to life. And so here I am sitting here in this moment, And you never know where you're going to be later. And people never know where the next person is going to be somewhere later on down the line. And as we look at one another, I share this to say it's likened to the moment right before you find out that you're pregnant, where you don't know what's in you. You don't know the gifts that rest inside of you. You're just living and doing your regular thing every day. And then one day you find out, you take a test and you find out, hey, I'm pregnant. And that's like the moment that you realize, hey, this goal, I have this big thing that I really want to do. Or I've had this idea in my mind for so long and I want to do it. And it doesn't necessarily have to be about an entrepreneurial goal. It can be about strengthening relationships with family members, strengthening relationship with a mother or a father, or going back and talking to that estranged sister or cousin or whomever. And it's like it's been resting on you so long that you know now you want to do something about it. And so that's the moment that you, in essence, become pregnant, right? It's this moment where the seed is planted. And once that seed is planted, feelings come up for you that have you thinking, okay, now what do I do with this? How do I bring this forward? Because to get past, I'll use the example of relationships that you're trying to strengthen. To get past all the fear and anxiety around having this talk with this loved one, going back and trying to repair it, for you, it can bring up different thoughts and anxieties. And so while you may be looking forward to a day when you and this person are great again, it doesn't take away from the struggles that you're going to have to go to help you build up to the moment where you have that conversation. And that likens to pregnancy in that the period that you are developing yourself in, and I'm going to still use the conversation as an example, the moments where you are trying to figure out how you're going to have this conversation, what is it that you need to prepare yourself for, what would be, how are you going to bring yourself to the moment where you call them up? Is it going to be a phone call? Is it going to be in person? All of those things are kind of like the 9 months of pregnancy where you have some great moments and you're feeling good and you're optimistic about what's to come. And yet the pain that you're experiencing, the cramps, the hurt, the upset, the uncomfort, the discomfort that you're experiencing trying to get to this end goal still doesn't make it any easier. And so in those moments, in certain moments, it can be harder for you to be grateful because you are challenged in that moment. And so I encourage people, if you feel like you have this gift brewing on the inside of you, to know that while you may not know how long it'll take for you to see the fruits of your labor, keep going, because every action step that you take towards it is legit that it's getting you closer and closer towards it. And so that day is going to come when you receive it and you are excited by it. So in those moments, try to find a way to shift your focus to being grateful for the challenges, because you know, oh, thank you. You know that the challenges are getting you closer to the thing that you desire. One of the other things that comes, right, is that, you know, at some point delivery is going to happen. You're going to have to deliver the baby. And so if we're talking about strengthening a relationship with an estranged loved one, think about the moment where you feel like, okay, we're going to dinner and it's tonight and I haven't spoken to this person in so long. And the last time we spoke, it wasn't good. The fear that's coming with you. That's the moment, like when your water breaks, you were close. You're inches away from receiving or having the conversation that you wanted to get the desired outcome. And yet it's still this big challenge that presents to you, this huge amount of pain. There's a saying, right? There's different versions of this saying that, you know, when it gets its toughest, that's when you are the closest. And it's that way when you're trying to achieve goals. The closer that you get to it, the harder it gets, because it's all about building you up for sustainability. Because the thing that we want, no matter what it is, what we want comes with work and it takes work to maintain it. And I don't say that to make it sound like, well, then what's the purpose? The purpose is that you are only strengthening yourself. Every obstacle that you go through, if you learn the lesson that was there for you to learn, you only get stronger. And so you're at this point where you're about to get your big moment. You're going to have this conversation. You're going to lay eyes on this family member or this loved one that you haven't seen in so long and you've missed. And you're nervous. This is just like the labor pains that you're going through. But you know that once you clear the air, once you're able to apologize, or once you're able to share how you were impacted by this person's actions, you know that there's a freedom on the other side of that for you. So you push through. And that final push, when you are able to reconnect and say, hey, I missed you and I want us to stay in contact. Or you say, I was hurt by you and I really have sat with this for so long and I've never shared it. That's your release. That's your big moment. That's you bringing the baby forward. And I use the example of conversations, one, because I think it's easier for us to see it if we're talking about goals, right? If we're talking about starting a business, going back to school, I think that we can miss that even having tough conversations and repairing relationships can be this goal that we strive towards. And so I really try with the stories that I shared to try to make things a little bit more clearer to us so we can break it down and see it more plainly and help us stay the course and be more successful. There's something else that happens after the baby is born, so to speak. So after you've achieved your goal, after you've launched your business, after you've repaired your relationship, after you have gone back to school for yourself or gone to therapy or whatever your goal was, it's the maintenance period. That's kind of like the life of the kid, right? You're happy to be a parent, and yet it's still not easy. It comes with its gifts and challenges. And so when you're in that state of receiving your gift, never miss an opportunity to be grateful, because it's in those moments where you are grateful for what you have that you're able to bring on more. Here's how I feel like it works, right? I've heard a lot of people share different stories on the power of gratefulness. As it relates to God, for me, I feel like when I'm grateful, when I can tell God, and I'll use a personal example, when I can tell God, I am grateful that my mom, I see now what you were doing with me not having a mother who was present in my life. I'm grateful for that because I see now how it built me up, how it strengthened muscles that I needed to get me through certain stages in my life. I see that. If I didn't have this loss in this big area, I wouldn't have been able to deal with losses of other areas, because now I look at things and I'm like, it's not really a loss. It's a removal. If I lose things, it's a removal of that thing because it no longer was serving me. And so I can look back at it and say, I had fun. I enjoyed this person, and I'm so grateful that I encountered them. And even if it ends really bad, even if it's like the freaking worst ending, I still can look at the situation and say, I got so much from this person. I had so many fun times with this person. And so the way that this ended was supposed to be this ugly because it needed to show me that it's time to fully let go. And God is so good that he didn't want me to make a single mistake. So he allowed me to be exposed to something that was going to hit me so strong that I wouldn't look back. And the reason why it brings me into my next level of growth and the next gift that he has for me is because I'm like, thank you, God, that happened. Thank you, God, that it happened. And what happens is, right, the first thank you is kind of like a thank you, God, like through gritted teeth type thing, right? Because you don't fully feel grateful. It stings. It hurts like hell. Over time, though, that thank you, God, becomes more real because you start to see how your life shifts and changes after certain things are taken away or after certain truths are uncovered. And so in this, I say, as you're trying to bring forth your gift, as you're going through the struggles, find moments and things within those struggles to be grateful for so that God can show you this is why you had to do it. Now that you see why and you're able to be grateful for it, let me take you to the next level. I also want to touch on really quick the things that God does for us that we can't even put our finger on understanding, right? There are some moments that I still experience and have experienced in the past where God will expose me to certain challenges and I'm just like, God, like you could have there was so many easier ways to do this. I'm not understanding why you did it like this. Come on now. And in those moments, it's harder for me, but I have to challenge myself to still be grateful because what that's telling me is that there is something in me that wasn't able to see this lesson in any other way other than this hard challenge. Maybe I wasn't receptive. Maybe I wasn't open enough in the way that he needed. And so he had to give me something big, or he had to give me something hard, or something that I just feel like, there were like 12 other ways. And he's like, no, this is what I did. You see it now. And because you see it, that means that you made it through the challenges and the struggles, and you are no longer upset or angry or feeling the pressure of the challenge because you've released it. And you said, God did it, so it's good. I'm amazed at how I'm able to view things now, knowing where I used to be. Got the soundtrack of the city outside. I'm amazed because I definitely am a worrier. And I say I am because I know what's still in me. I know what thoughts I can still go to. And I know how my mind can allow me to get hooked and stuck on something that feels scary. And yet I'm so blessed because there is a moment now where I see that whatever God is putting in my space, it's only for my good. It's only for my good. And it's either going to be to elevate me or to help me support and elevate someone else. And I pray that everyone that's coming into contact with my content starts to see those things, right? We never know why we scroll across a person's page. We never know why we sign on to someone's account initially, right? Until we get there and we hear a message that just feels so strong and profound that we know that it's for us. And so those who are popping in and out of my channel, as I see you come and go, I hope that there's something that you're able to take from this content because you were brought here for a reason, right? Whether you believe in God or you just believe in this universal pull, there was something that you were supposed to get, whether it was from this or through the connection of finding the page and then finding other content. I'm a firm believer. There are people who I have come across on TikTok, on Instagram, on social media, period, where it's just like, I don't know why I got hooked on this person's page. I don't know what made me click on this. But when I get there and I start to realize, wow, you're talking about something that I have been quiet about for so long because for me, I'm embarrassed by it. Or wow, you're making something that I've struggled to understand make sense in a whole new way. Even the silly stuff that I love to just laugh at. It's like I found this in the moment because this is what connected with my humor and my spirit to make me laugh. And I needed that moment of joy and happiness through comedy, right? I feel like we're all drawn to whatever we're drawn to for reasons. And so I encourage you all to pray and ask God, what is it that I need to still see? And God, whatever it is that I'm supposed to pick up, always bring that to me. Keep bringing that to me. Don't let me stray. That's one of my prayers. It's like, don't let me stray. And God, whatever I'm supposed to do or see for my highest good, help me to see it. That prayer, let me just say, it ain't no joke. Okay, so if anybody watching, you are in that space, please let me know how it goes for you because my experience with that is If you ask God to show up and show you all of what is for your good, and you ask him to constantly place you into spaces that are going to help you continue to grow, there's going to be a number of challenges that come with that. And you're going to have to push through. And pushing through means giving your struggles and your heartaches and your stresses to God because you asked him for it and he's delivering. I have asked God to remove people from my life who are not going to serve me, who are no longer serving me. I have asked God to remove things within me from my life. And my temperament is one of the biggest things that I've seen improvement on. I find myself being quiet in moments where the real me wants to get upset. I find myself not reacting because my mind now feels pulled and conflicted, and I start thinking about the fruits of the spirit for me, like the love and the joy and the peace. Yes, I'm supposed to receive those things from God. I also know now I'm supposed to help put that out into the universe as well by the way that I live. And so now it's like, whereas I want to curse somebody out, I got to shut up. And sometimes it's a challenge. But when I listen, when I obey, when I just shut my mouth, the blessing that I get after that, the peace of mind that I feel after that. And sometimes that's all the blessing is just a level of peace that I wouldn't have had I reacted in my traditional way. It's indescribable. It is indescribable. And so as we think about in this coming week, the challenges that we are going to face, I am going to encourage you once again to think about the grateful moments that lie within the challenges. And for anyone who is trying to achieve goals, and we all are out here trying to achieve some kind of goal, multiple goals at once, whether that be in our relationships to maintain a healthy relationship, or in our career paths, or in our health. If you're out here trying to achieve a goal, think about the pregnancy analogy that I talked about in this live, and I'll sum it up as I get ready to close. When you find out you're pregnant, that's the moment that you realize that you have this desire to achieve something. And it feels good, and there's an excitement. Remember how excited you were at the moment when you discovered what your goal is. Because in the birthing period, in the 9 months of pregnancy period, you are going to have ups and downs. And so as you're going through those ups and downs, let the thing that sustains your gratefulness be the fact that you're working towards this goal. Even when it gets hard, remember what that goal is. I think it's on my Instagram page. It's definitely on YouTube, and it's under Never Stop Growing Coaching and Consulting. I did a video about the stages of goal achievement and how you can continue following your goals through. I think it was 3 stages that I had. And so look for that video, because while you're in the middle of trying to bring it forth, it's going to feel like a roller coaster. So let gratefulness carry you through. And then in the moment when you get ready to give birth, that is going to be your hardest period. It is going to hurt like hell, but you know that you are on the cusp. You are literally right on the other side of your big blessing. So push through. The amount of times that we, myself included, have given up when we were right there. Crazy. And it's the times that we know about and the times that we didn't know, where we give up. We're going for something and it gets too hard and then we run away. There's always something good on the other side of your struggle, because this is why we set out for it. We struggle because it's growing us. And so after a while, that term struggle doesn't even seem to fit anymore. Instead of struggles, we view these things as lessons and development periods. And so you're in labor. That's the toughest part of it, because you're right close to the edge of your gift. And then you give birth to your goal. You bring your goal to life. It is here. Celebrate it. And the beautiful thing is that you can trace every single step back to that one moment when you remembered and you discovered this is my goal. And you can celebrate yourself because you see how strong and capable you really are, because you knew every freaking challenge that you had to go through to bring this forth. That then sets you on a level of freedom, power, and independence like you've never known, because you really internalize how powerful you are. You don't need another person in this world to tell you, oh my gosh, that was so brave, that was so bold. You know it, you feel it, because you followed something through. So that's encouragement to people who are trying to achieve a goal. Think about the idea of pregnancy. You don't have to be a woman to know this. We just the basics of it. Think about that concept. Follow it through, because at the end is a baby, and that is the birth of your goal. So that concludes today's episode of Grateful and Challenge. Of course, I will be back next Sunday, so please join in. Bring your challenges, like drop them in the chat. This is an interactive thing, as interactive as we can make it on social media. Bring forth your grateful moments, because this is all about celebrating with one another. And also, what I may start doing is, for certain challenges, like opening up a moment for us to just kind of like touch base and pray with one another or pray for one another. Of course, we know when we drop our challenges in that chat, just kind, loving people will see things and drop a prayer for you, because that's how we are as humans. And so we'll have the support of strangers praying for you, coupled with yourself. Come on now, gets you closer to your end goal. In the meantime, never stop growing. If you don't follow me, please go ahead and follow. If you haven't signed up for my workshop next Saturday at at noon Eastern Standard Time, please go ahead and sign up. And in the meantime, y'all, never stop growing. Happy Sunday. Have a great week. Bye.